Today, we're looking at one of the strangest evolutionary experiments in flight, the Lockheed XFV-1 Salmon, and then we'll compare it to the machines that actually pulled it off, the Harrier Jump Jet and the F-35B Lightning II. It's a story of how a fish tried to fly and how others actually soared. I'm Bill, and this is Buffalo Air Park. Let's dive in. Back in the 1950s, the Cold War was heating up, and everyone was terrified of Soviet bombers knocking out long, vulnerable runways. The solution? Vertical takeoff and landing, VTOL. Imagine fighters that didn't need runways, that could spring up from parking lots, forest clearings, even the deck of a cargo ship. A bold idea? On paper. Enter the U.S. Navy's contract with Lockheed, and the result, the Lockheed XFV-1 Salmon. A prototype so odd, so unwieldy, that some pilots nicknamed it the Pogo Stick. Now, quick clarification. The official Pogo nickname actually belonged to Convair's competing tailsitter, the XFY-1 Pogo. But Lockheed's machine was so similarly awkward that even their own engineers joked it was just another Pogo Stick with wings. Its official name, of course, was the Salmon, after its test pilot Herman Fish Salmon. Yes, you heard that right. They gave a fish a plane called the Salmon. The Navy must have been in on that joke. This tailsitter stood upright on its cruciform tail, balancing on tiny caster wheels. In theory, its 5,300 horsepower Allison engine would spin those giant contra-rotating propellers, hoisting the Salmon straight up like an elevator. In practice, the engine wasn't powerful enough, and the upgraded version it needed never showed up. To even get this thing off the ground for early test, Lockheed bolted a makeshift landing gear, awkward V-shaped stilts that looked like a construction scaffold stolen from a backyard project. It managed a brief hop in 1953, thanks to Fish Salmon's bravery, or maybe his bad luck. But a true vertical takeoff or landing? Not once. And even if the Salmon had worked, the pilot's job would have been borderline suicidal. To land, you had to tilt your seat 45 degrees, look back over your shoulder, and carefully descend tail first while juggling throttle leg. It was like trying to parallel park a refrigerator while it's falling out of the sky. By 1955, the project was scrapped. The Navy realized this pogo stick with wings could never keep up with real jet fighters. The Salmon was ambitious, yes, but hopelessly impractical. But here's where the story pivots from farce to triumph. About a decade later, the British cracked the code with a revolutionary idea, vectored thrust. Instead of balancing on its tail like a drunk acrobat, the Harrier Jump Jet simply swiveled its jet exhaust nozzle downward to lift off, then forward to fly. Simple, but brilliant. The AV-8A Harrier, adopted by the U.S. Marines in the 1970s, could hover, take off short, and even operate from small carriers. It wasn't just a gimmick, it worked in combat. In the Falklands War, Harriers proved they could defeat fleets and hold their own in dogfights. The VTOL dream was real at last. And the evolution didn't stop there. Today we have the F-35B Lightning II, the most advanced short takeoff and vertical landing jet ever built. Using a lift fan and a swiveling exhaust nozzle, it can do what the Salmon only dreamed of: vertical landings, short takeoffs, and full supersonic flight. It's the Harrier's great-grandchild, carrying smart weapons, stealth, and a price tag that would make a Cold War admiral faint. So, the next time you see an F-35B ease down onto the deck like it's nothing, spare a thought for poor Fish Salmon and his pogo stick experiment. Aviation history is full of leaps forward, but sometimes you gotta flop like a fish before you can truly fly. And that wraps up another tale from aviation's stranger side. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.